Hey friends, welcome to episode 2 of The Drive Home. Today's episode is going to be about video games, because that was the big thing that popped up. And specifically, somebody asked me about what kind of glitch I'd like to see as a main game mechanic in an indie title of some sort. I'm not 100% sure what that meant, but I think probably one of the most entertaining glitches I ever see is the broken ragdoll physics. I'm not sure how to make that a mechanic, though. That's the only problem I'm thinking of. But, like, just when you hit something so hard, or something gets caught in an explosion so hard that the ragdoll of the body breaks the physics engine, and like you see an arm that gets stretched 20 or 30 feet, or the body just totally wigs out, or something like that. And I'm not sure how you make that a mechanic. I mean, would you need to make it so like the only way you'd be going against completely invulnerable enemies, and the only way to stop them would be to completely break the world just to end them? And I don't know, maybe it's one of those things where they don't shoot at you or anything like that, so you can't take continual damage while you're trying to figure it out. But you know, if they got too close to you, they could beat you up, and then that'd be game over. But in the meantime, you're using stuff like I don't know, like air cannons or pistons or something like that, and you couldn't just batter them around because they just get right back up. You gotta figure out some way to apply so much pressure, so much force that they get lodged into the world, or they just get slammed so hard the calculation goes, I don't know how to handle this, and therefore it breaks, and it goes, congratulations, you killed the unstoppable enemy because you literally broke physics just to make it happen. That would definitely be an interesting mechanic if you're trying to make a glitch work in your favor, or make it as a main mechanic. And just you know, and of course, you know, like two things trying to occupy the same space at the same time, you could definitely do something along those lines, where you know, you start getting to more and more advanced traps, so you're trying to have like the enemy and another object slam into each other so hard that they become one object, as you've seen in like Ben Booja films, or other such gameplay videos where, you know, they just become part of the scenery because they get glitched out, or well, I mean, that's what we're talking about, so we're talking about glitches, but, you know, just for some reason or another, they get caught into another physical object, and therefore you have a dude who's folded in half and half sticking out of the concrete because for some reason or another the calculations or the computer system went, yeah, that's where that guy belongs. And they can't move anymore, or they're just straight up stuck. I think that would be an interesting way. Or you could reverse it where you're trying to do that to yourself, like you're in a kind of in a situation kind of like Cube, or something along those lines, where you're in a maze that's impossible to get out of, you know, a room with no doors or windows, or, you know, obviously more complicated than that, but in some inescapable situation, and the only way to do it is to somehow force yourself out of the world. Like, you know, you set yourself up so you're going so fast that the computer can't keep up, or you just simply do a maneuver where you're climbing and ducking and duck jumping and everything, until you get to the point where you're wedged up into a space that your player model simply shouldn't occupy. And then when you stand up, or you jump, or you do something like that, you're able to actually pop yourself out of the level, and at that point it's like, yay, you escaped, you win! That would probably be an interesting way to make a well-known glitch into a main gameplay mechanic. Although it would be really interesting, because the entire thing you're trying to do is something the computer's not meant to do, and therefore then you have to record a win scenario where it actually checks whether or not you've accomplished what shouldn't be possible. And it goes, oh yeah, no, the player model is outside of the play area, congratulations, you win, or this enemy model can no longer move for one reason or another, and therefore you win. Yeah, that'd certainly be interesting. A hell of a way to make a glitch into a gameplay mechanic. I'm trying to think of other glitches that are just real common that you could even make that into. mean, you've got Assassin's Creed Unity was infamous for disappearing body parts, faces and heads and all that other stuff. In fact, I just recently saw a bunch of DayZ videos where the clothing model for certain equipment didn't render, and therefore made parts of the person invisible. Like they had a jacket on, and therefore, or no, it wasn't a jacket, it was pants. So everything from the waist down, except for their shoes, was gone. So they were just a floating torso with two little feet kind of bobbing around. Or they had like a long sleeve shirt underneath the jacket, but the long sleeve shirt didn't render, so therefore they had their torso, but from where the sleeve would normally end all the way to the end of their arms was gone. And maybe you could do something like that where you have to find the broken clothing models to make yourself completely invisible so you can sneak past stuff. Although I mean, then it wouldn't really be a glitch, because, I mean, you'd have to purposely make models that were broken for it to work, which seems kind of odd. But I mean, I guess that's the route we're talking about taking, is that we want to take a glitch and make it into a main component of a game. Which, you know, it just seems like a bizarre way to go, but it is a good way to figure out a game mechanic that hasn't been focused on before, because nobody focuses on glitches. Everybody tries to squash them. It's like, a bug, get rid of it. But yeah, so there's some ideas that I threw out, but there we are. It's the end of the episode. Make sure you comment so I have something to talk about next time, and until then, I'll see you at home.